All right, hey everybody. This is Brandon, and as you know from some of my videos, my mother has passed. It's been kind of a whirlwind couple of weeks, as you can imagine. And I had mentioned in my video that I was going to have to do a 3-minute eulogy. Well, I'm here to tell you that it was a little more than 3 minutes. It was closer to about 8 by the time I got done. But it's well thought out, and I had been requested by many people to give them the transcript, and I will do you one better, since you shouldn't be recording in a church, especially during a funeral mass. This is a chance to kind of deliver it to you. And Holy Trinity and Cahos was very graceful with a lot of things and how they honored my mother, as she was a communicant and a volunteer there for 40 plus years. And anyways, here's the eulogy. My mother had it all. Before she built the perfect family, she came from arguably the most interesting man in the world. Her father, T. Brandon, was a world traveler, an optometrist, a poet, a police mountie, a business owner, and civic-minded leader. He whisked our Nana, Ruth, away in what could only be called a whirlwind romance. My grandmother was also diverse with adventure and the zest for the finer things in life. He took her into his arms and said, "Let's do this," or whatever two people from the early 40s would say to each other. They made 2 images of themselves with my mother and her sister Kathy. They were cultured and refined with other business and civic-minded leaders around the dinner table. The ski lodge owners, the writers, the artists, the pharmacist, and of course the mayor and his wife, which is how Virginia McDonald came to be her godmother. She and her sister Kathy were the girls that ran around Timpane's Jewelers. It was the staple of downtown business district in Cahos, known for its Christmas display windows and its historic building, and an optometrist that handed out eyeglasses and baseball gloves to anyone that needed them. But all too quick, my mother's father left her. He passed away when Terry was just 5. This defined her through much of her life. The only thing that could overcome abandonment is to never be abandoned again. Her quest for the steadfast came in the form of friends at first. The roommates, as they came to be called, were from the formidable years at Salve Regina in Rhode Island. 4 friends that kept a close bond for over 60 years. Maureen, Nancy, and Susan, as well as their families. From getting into trouble for hot plates in the dorm to talking one another out of military husbands. Their annual get-togethers were the stuff of legends. From humble backyard barbecues to beach house rentals, it was the highlight of the summer every year for them. It was the big chill before it was cool. By the way, she married my Navy dad, Nate, anyways. He gave her a hand to hold for over 54 years. I know it was that long because I do the math every year on my birthday. It stemmed from a whirlwind romance as well, rivaled that of Bogey and McCall, or Laurel and Hardy, or Abbott and Costello. It looked like an odd couple at times, but it worked. Like a platypus or daylight savings time. Sometimes it just works. For 54 years, she endured dad jokes that only slightly evolved over the course of their marriage. She delivered the well-timed punchline by completing the pun, or as we call it, the groaner. The most recent typified their time when they were together. She finished the riddle with, "No, Nate, I'm not going to pull your leg. It'll come off." Because he has one leg. Sometimes jokes just work too. The outcome of excessive hand-holding was 3 beautiful children, one progressively suspect than the next. They each continue to change the world in their own way, even with an identity crisis, because for years we all thought our name was Brand, not Sean. But you could say that she really won the lottery. 3 diverse people that found their way and were making a mark on it. The neighborhood kids became the village that raised us. The bond she had with Mary was the wisdom she needed from the example that she set. She would ramble off all their names and always forget one of them, just like Maria von Trapp. Then she would always say, "Oh, yes, God bless Kurt." And sure enough, she would remember. She'd say remembering the across-the-street grandmother and the symbiotic relationship that they made My parents were the cool ones, you see. The camping trips, the wiffle ball games. My mom did what she could, where she could. Tirelessly, my mom became a housewife and then became a mother and challenged her children regularly, even if she didn't quite know how to put it. She did it all with an offbeat sense of humor, a sense of humor that made the children act out with food fights in the dining room or doing the candy bar challenge on Christmas Eve Mass. And if you don't know what the candy bar challenge is, well, that's when the older sibling challenges the younger siblings to be as loud as humanly possible during the singing portions of it. By the way, if mom swore during church, you got 2 candy bars. Her encouragement came in an unlikely package. For instance, I remember watching Doogie Howser, MD, a show about a prodigy teenager, and she would encourage me by saying things like, he's only 14. You could be an actor. Wait a minute. You could be a doctor. Let me get that right. He's only 14. You could be a doctor. Trying to change the topic, I said something along the lines of, I think I'd rather be an actor, Mom. And in typical Terry fashion, she responded, why would a doctor ever want to be an actor? Or how about when she was the tutor support for the 11th hour book report? Mom, how do I spell triskaidectophobia? She would smile and say, look it up in the dictionary, knowing full well that if you could look it up, you could spell it, sound it out, or read half of the dictionary looking for what you needed. When she wasn't using her Good Housekeeping magazine parenting tips, she was the den mother, the daisy leader, bazaar volunteer, church committee, fundraiser, youth group, adult education, CCD special education teacher, diocesan volunteer, greeter, Eucharistic minister, faith formation, parish council president, church bereavement team, Eucharistic minister on wheels. I don't really know what they call them now. Parish secretary and executive attaché to the traveling deacon from Trinidad. Sometimes the title's actually the description. She set an example of saying yes whenever asked, standing up for anyone who was marginalized, and was a fierce advocate for the right thing, even if it wasn't the popular thing. Strike that, especially if it wasn't the popular thing. Like when my Uncle Ken came to live with us, she wasn't really sure if it was the right fit. I mean, 3 young children, plus I'd be getting a roommate. But then when she learned that her mother-in-law, Grace, didn't like the idea, she couldn't wait to make Ken's bed. She finished a master's degree into her 60s to unwittingly show us to never give up and to keep going. It's how she raised 2.5 wonderful children. She watched each of us create a family in our own image, and she affectionately got every one of the grandchildren incorrect the same way they got her kids incorrect. Mart, Shai, Zam, Bryn, Eric, Bastion. She simplified it in the long term by simply saying and calling all of the children Sebastian. She worked her whole life through challenge of losing her father and being raised by a single mother. She wanted to be there for us in whatever way she knew how, in whatever quirky package it came in. We're all complex, and we approach our lives in the way that we are meant to, and our personalities then appear. The best of my mother prepared me for the worst of my mother, you see. I looked at it all wrong for a really long time. She did the best she could with the tools that she had. In the end, she surrounded herself with a sister that didn't give up on their relationship, no matter how challenging. Her friends from college were her home base every year for decades. She belonged to a parish that always looked for her to take the lead so that then the right thing would happen. She had friends from the neighborhood where memories never let you feel alone, and she knew her children worked through the unintended consequences of the upbringing that she had, and we all became better for it. And she knew a husband that never left her side no matter what. And that is why she can finally rest in peace. She taught me the words. Keep going.